No.
Well, so it's time. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. She's got a whole pile of stuff.
No, I'm just going to leave it all over here. How's it going? It's going. I'm here.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes and agenda as presented.
Second that. Motion Derby, second Stenger to approve the minutes and agenda. All in favor say aye. Aye.
We need to amend our minutes for 2 weeks ago that said for Eric, said 6,000 hours instead of.
Oh.
Oh, really?
Something like that.
I don't know what that was.
I didn't even, a guy like Bill's caught it.
Oh, really?
What?
Oh. Let's take a look.
6,000. I don't remember seeing that.
Made the papers.
Well, that wasn't the motion, so.
Is it the 16th?
Must have been.
Yeah,
This
6,000.
says 6.769.
Must have been misprint in the paper, didn't it?
Must have been.
Yeah.
Well, she hand types all our minutes, so that very well could be. But it's right here.
These amendments in the paper. Okay, well, number 2. Julie Swenson, treasurer, to discuss with possible action canceling of old warrants.
Okay, so we have some checks that were written over a year ago and for the state auditor to cancel those. And there is that letter.
What are you testing?
Yes. Julie couldn't be here. Her mom's up in Rochester.
That's all right.
She had an appointment this morning and wasn't going to be coming up. Huh?
That's a pretty good excuse. Not on the minutes, well.
You know what these are about?
Yep.
Those are big ones.
I'll make a motion to approve the canceling of old warrants presented by the treasurer's office.
Motion Derby and second Stenger to cancel the old warrants from the treasurer's office. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
3, Julie Swenson, treasurer, to discuss a possible action abatement of U.S. fish and wildlife drainage tax assessments.
Okay, so my understanding is that the Fish and Wildlife had purchased some land and we had charged them taxes and they are not going to pay.
Drainage taxes.
And yes, both drainage and regular taxes. So here
They
are-
should be exempt from the property taxes, and then the drainage they're not paying, and according to John Torbert, they don't have to pay.
So then it gets reassessed to everybody else. to
It
cover.
sure does.
So here are the abatements that Julie put together.
Now,
So-
if the pilot program is still being funded, then there is money we can go after to get.
If you can figure out how to apportion it, I don't know
No,
how.
I'm talking about on the property taxes. You can get property taxes from those entities on government-held land through the pilot program. Whether it's being funded right now, I don't know.
And I don't know.
It's called can't remember what the P was for, in lieu of
Payment.
taxes.
in those taxes.
Pilot, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that's big out in Utah where 80% of the land is owned by the
Right.
fish.
And I know Julie said that these taxes, when she gets money in from the state or federal, whomever, it gets a portion to the townships. So it doesn't go, I'm not sure how it all gets apportioned right now.
And she said that this was land that was purchased before the taxes were assessed, and they weren't supposed to be assessed taxes.
Okay,
And so they were exempt, and so they weren't supposed to have been, assessed taxes. So therefore, they were assessed, and now we have to get them off of our tax roll. And the
So
only way
these
to
are
do
old.
that would be abating them.
gotcha. But I would like to know how you guys would like to proceed as far as U.S. Fish and Wildlife then in the future.
For drainage.
Do I just put them exempt, and then that way they don't, and put 0 for their assessment, and that way everybody else has to pay the difference?
How much is it on this one?
These are old too, right?
Yes, these are old.
I don't know how,
6,500 on this one, and
This is taxes, right?
Right, the one that you have is taxes, this one is
Taxes,
drainage.
that's assessments.
Yes.
right, it's 640730 on this one, and that one is 1,000.
Looks like most of it's.
What was his reasoning that they shouldn't be charged? That's not a tax.
I know. But
There is a letter attached to it,
Yeah,
there's a letter from
Yep.
Don there, his email back to me.
and a letter from them as
Do
well.
they reference a code?
So,
So according to code, we can't charge them.
Well, they're not gonna pay it.
We can charge if they can't, they don't have to pay it.
So basically what I would like to do then is just make it so their assessment is 0. They're still on there as far as a parcel, so in case it gets sold to somebody else, we can then eventually, put it back on. But, and that way, everybody else will just take the brunt of their assessment.
If we don't, what bookkeeping does that do to you guys?
We would have to do this every time, come in and abate.
But then,
Whatever's
the
taxed.
drainage fund is still low, so I'm still gonna have to assess to get that money back.
Right,
So,
right, but my thinking is that if we forego this now, let it go, and then that were to change, we might be able to get back paid from them.
I'm gonna guess not.
Yeah, I'm thinking not.
Well, I'm gonna guess maybe not too, but, I mean, if it's not a big deal to not forego this,
I still have to get the drainage back, so I'm still going to have
I know,
to.
I know that. What I'm
I'm not
saying is
sure.
it a nightmare, bookkeeping nightmare for you for us not to do this? Say we didn't abate the drainage side of it. I understand,
Oh, yeah, it stays out there.
right, I know it stays out there, but it's a nightmare for you to keep track of that. I mean,
I'm not keeping track of it, they are,
the drainage side?
Yeah,
for taxes.
Oh,
Right.
okay. Is it a nightmare?
it is.
All right.
I mean, it just stays out there forever and then, yeah,
the only thing that's nice about it,
Yeah.
right.
the only thing that's nice is that you get to see how much you're not getting paid every day.
And if every time we go through a rating process, it's gonna look bad having that uncollected debt.
Right.
Taken care of.
Right.
Looks like a bulk of this is in your district center in Mount Valley.
And they own more, but I believe these are just, the ones that we've billed so far, so.
Well, this doesn't say anything about drainage, it just says special levies, and that would be a tax.
That would be drainage, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and then
Special.
regens.
suppose in Arizona, they didn't have to deal with drainage on.
No.
Just sourcing the water.
They don't have drainage.
If you have the washes, and so they had to, it was really funky how they worked the ranchers, but here's a form of it, and it's interdependent upon whether you're in the grassy areas of the mountains or whether you're not, and also down towards the mid-level valleys in the mountains, Superstition Mountains.
Much like our classification.
Right, it's a weird mathematical figure, but yeah, and no one can figure it out.
They have a lot of governmental land out there.
Yes, a lot of tribal stuff, and that's who they couldn't touch.
What's the bookkeeping nightmare for you if we don't approve this?
It stays out on the
It just
system.
stays on the book.
It stays out there and then we have to, well, pretty much take care of it from here on out as far as uncollectible. And then, reporting it to the state auditors. I mean, we have to carry it. We can't go after them to collect it, obviously. I mean, sending out letters to them.
Well, Cassuth County's gonna go after it, they're gonna test it.
Well, that's not for sure. I mean, it just says they might, doesn't it?
He understands Cassuth County, yeah, may be considered a test case, but don't know where they are in the process, John.
That's probably the union solution.
I'd like to bite them, but I don't, I'm not on your end, so.
Right. And the only thing we're gonna do is send letters. I mean,
Yeah, for the amount that it is, you couldn't afford to hire a lawyer.
Well, I wouldn't think we would hire one, that's what we have, a full-time attorney now. That was half the purpose when we went from part-time.
Oh, have it, Adam do it?
Yeah.
It's up to you.
Draft a letter this year. I'm not saying
We
we
can-
won't in the next year,
right?
but there again, I'm relying on you as to,
So you're wanting us to contact Adam and then have him send a letter to them? Is that
I'd
right?
like that, but I'm moving through the board, so.
Or at least have Adam look at it to determine whether.
To make sure,
we stand up.
see if we have a leg to stand on, and then we can always
That's
cancel it.
okay.
I think there's a point to be made here that there's been a number of years, in my opinion, that we've been accumulating too much federal land and we can't afford to maintain it. And they want to keep accumulating more. And there has to be a point where they have to realize that it's costing people money.
Very salient, very.
And we're talking strictly drainage only, correct?
Yes,
The
yes.
taxes are, okay.
I mean, it's government overreach when you go out and commit 1 million acres to one monument.
I mean, I'm no lawyer, but it says special levies, and I understand drainage is a levy, but it's not a tax. It's for work done, so.
Yeah, they're still part of the drainage district, whether they like it or not.
What about the taxes part of it?
Yeah. There's nothing we can do there.
Okay, so there's two separate issues then.
There are, mm-hmm.
We just don't have to make a motion on this. Just let us go.
It's fine.
Table.
Get a hold of Adam.
Table it till after Adam's seen it.
But I guess I would make a motion to, is it how it's listed on the agenda? No, that's just.
It's just drainage, I don't
Okay,
think,
so this one's separate. We'll have to do that on another agenda item sometime.
Okay.
So put the taxes on the agenda for next week.
And the drainage table until we get more information from our county attorney.
No, we can take care of the taxes.
Mm-mm.
That's
The
what
one
we
that says
do.
drainage tax assessment.
2 at warrants.
Oh, yeah.
We're willing to, but can't.
Okay.
It should
All right.
have said, it should
yeah, I
have
didn't
said
realize there was some tax
and
ones too,
drainage
so
Oh.
that's my fault for
Okay,
putting that on.
not a problem.
Putting that on there.
Always look
That's
forward to
fine.
seeing you next week.
All right, yeah.
Maybe not me.
So
Yeah.
for the county residents who are not subject to all these exemptions, they would have more money added on to their tax bill to compensate for.
Gets reappropriated or reassessed.
We have to rebill again because we are short $6,000 and whatever, wherever. So we have to then the other people in the district would have to pay again because they didn't pay.
And what are we doing with these federal lands?
It's hunting and wildlife.
Some of it's not hunted. There's a big chunk of Union Slough that you can't hunt in at all.
Well, yeah. Well, and then like over by Rice Lake, there's around Rice Lake, there's certain animals you can't hunt, but other you can.
So the deer and the raccoon and the beavers are getting off scot-free and we have to pay for it.
Well, the farmers that have the deer, especially in this part, you can't hunt to thin them out. I mean, they're corn and soybeans that along that slough just get decimated. I mean, it just looks like there's literally been a herd of deer in there. Because I know they've tried to sue for their crop damages, means they. Okay, anyway. Number 4, discussion with possible action regarding Iowa Insurance Commissioner report on election to participate and release. How much is the amount?
Like $5,000 for Winnebago County.
That would be our portion of the settlement.
I heard at one point that it was it like 80-some thousand that,
85.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. When I saw the settlement number, I thought, well, it doesn't divide out very well.
Who made the decision on this?
On the,
Executive board? Brad JCP?
no, the insurance division,
Insurance commission or whatever.
yeah. The executive board had nothing to do with it. When we got together, we said we wanted our total amount, the 85,000, so.
This ain't what life would be.
So if we don't pass this, then we get.
We get nothing. If we do
We can
this,
go after it.
uh,
That's what it is. It doesn't preclude us from going after it individually.
I don't know, we have to talk to Adam.
We can still go after them for the 85,000, but we'll have to do it all.
I was wondering how they came up with the number they came up with for the damages, when we know that the damages were more than that.
But they're not admitting that there was.
Well, yeah, well, everybody else is saving a lengthy legal battle, and we're gonna pay for it. So I guess if you're gonna admit to something wrong, you should admit to the full amount of being wrong. Or, they're not admitting to being wrong, but I guess I can't say that I'm not too excited about that either.
Terry, can you call Adam and see if he can come in?
I don't know, it was pretty busy upstairs.
Is it?
Yeah, he said, I talked to him last Friday about the fireworks stuff, and he said he was gonna be busy this morning.
Okay.
Is this something we wanna just send to him and have him look at this too?
I've already talked to him about it.
Okay, what did he indicate to you?
He just, that's what he said. He said, you can accept it. And my take on it is $5,000. $5,000 is $5,000, but I personally am willing to give up the 5,000 to fight it. I mean, that's what we have added for. I would think that we could get more than 5.
Well, it seems like
Give us
to
a
me-
17th of what they, 1/17 of the entire.
Yeah, 6%. How many entities was there altogether?
30-some.
Yeah, I was thinking it was just about 40 for some reason. And then if you divide that out by the number of the settlement, it doesn't come out very good.
Well, there were 10,500 employees that were affected across the state. So if you divide the settlement by how much they paid in versus how much they're gonna get back,
That's the,
math doesn't add up.
No.
but it wasn't even the way some counties had bigger,
Hancock was astronomical, I know.
Potawatomi is 143. Spencer Community School District must be is 50,000. Keokuk School District is 135.
Actually,
Hancock says, well,
this is our settlement.
Yeah.
so theirs is 10 times more than ours.
So they're getting 80.
They'd be getting 50.
Well, how much was their,
50,994.
how did they come up with the numbers? Did they have that much more invested that they got?
I don't know, that's what makes me as to how they came up with the settlements.
Yeah, I mean, how did everybody get the same percentage what they should have got?
Obviously not.
Well, it doesn't look like it to me, because I can't believe that the school districts are bigger than our county.
Which one?
Oh, like,
Well, see, Hancock's not that much bigger, but it's how they were billed that affected it.
yeah, so they were owing much more in the first place than we.
Right. That's where I think the prorating came in.
I mean, if everybody's getting the same percentage of what they should have been getting, it is quite bad.
Well, assuming that that's correct at 400,000 from Hancock, the percentages don't even add up.
Yeah, there's
Not
180.
coming up right. There's
No.
there's no equality.
Yeah,
And was this formula set by the insurance division, or was,
all these papers came to me from the insurance division.
it's certainly like an
I guess
explanation of it.
I'd like to see some of the other information from before too, and see how we are. How it all, plays out comparatively. So I guess I'd like to table this.
Okay.
Nine 30 AM discuss oh no, we're not to 9:30 yet though. You wanna do the fireworks?
Sure.
Discussion with possible action, fireworks resolution.
From what I've looked up on this, there's several categories when it comes to fireworks. The lowest level is novelty. Basically, that's all I think you can buy up in Minnesota, anything that doesn't go above 6 foot up. Next level up is the consumer fireworks, is which the state legislature has passed that anybody can go out and buy unless it's restricted somewhere. The next level up is the display fireworks. Display fireworks, you have to have an ATF permit to go out and buy. That's what I think most of the people in our county that are getting a permit from us to do their they have to have that deemed by fireworks. But it says in here, in the code, under section B1, a person who uses or explodes display fireworks while the use of such devices is prohibited or limited by ordinance or resolution adopted by the county or city in which the fireworks is used, commits a civil misdemeanor. So it makes it sound like we need to pass something if we still want to have some control over that. So I don't know where you guys want to be on that.
I think that our resolution should pertain strictly to the display.
Well, that's my opinion too. Carl printed off another copy of the resolution. And I think I gotta make sure. It'd be simply crossing out consumer.
And I think we should treat it just like we did the ATVs. If it gets out of hand, we can change it.
See if there's any other reference to it. No, there's just one place it says, whereas the Winnebago County supervisors have decided that the unregulated use of consumer or display fireworks would constitute a threat to the public safety or private property, or would constitute a nuisance to the neighboring landowners. And then it would allow us a permitting process. Well, if we take off the consumer part of it and just do display, then we're just regulating the bigger displays that you have to have an ATF permit to buy.
That's my take.
What do you think? I think we've treated people fair on that. It doesn't cost them anything for the permit. Permit is free, we just come in and we be able to have the control.
So
Responsible.
We're still gonna make them get a permit.
For the display.
Consumer.
The consumer, you know,
Just the
they don't
display.
need one.
So
Okay, just for the,
it would look like this, just
Yeah, cross
use
out.
of display fireworks, and then everything else.
If you're gonna do firecrackers or whatever at your farm out in the country, you can do that legally without any permit.
how about the, the orders where they go up the ways into the air?
Depending on which one it is.
Well, yeah, it can't be the,
If it's consumer, then you can. If it's
consumer is anything, most anything you can buy at a fireworks place now.
Right, in that you will be able to buy in Iowa.
Yeah.
Minnesota's different, they're not.
Well, I mean, Missouri or South Dakota.
Right. And you can go to South Dakota or Missouri and buy the display ones, we gotta have the permitting by ATF. So,
I guess so.
Do they show you that permit when they come in for an application?
No,
They don't?
but it's a part of the
because
permit.
lots of people have, like Lewis's, they get a permit and then they have someone who has that thing come in. But the permit actually says that they will only have someone that
A professional pyrotechnic.
light them off.
So it's part of the permit process.
No. We got time. Adam should rewrite this.
So we can send this back to Adam by crossing out consumer and have him bring it to us.
And he should, I mean, just in case that changes the whole resolution.
I do have a question. I've been following this in Mesa City and the Globe Gazette. And they were going to ban them near nursing homes and things like that. And I realize that's not a county issue, but we do have churches out in the county that have funerals and things like that. Is there any way we could put them X mile away from a church service or something like that? Just throwing that out there, guys.
Most people aren't gonna light them off though during the day, and funerals aren't usually at night. Well, I guess there could be wakes and stuff, but
I'm talking about firecrackers themselves. We had that funeral for that,
Yeah.
gentleman up in World War II that passed away, and if there are people out there that want to disrupt funerals, and that's my concern.
What distance would you think?
I don't know.
They were trying to disrupt that funeral?
No, they did not, but there is a group or organization that has done that in the past.
Yeah, I've seen that, not around here.
Right.
But, yeah, I've seen them on the news, yeah. So,
That's my only concern.
Are there residents this close to, there are, Pastor Peters himself, lives over there. So if he wanted to, he couldn't. So maybe we could phrase it like, any people are present at church or something like that. I don't know.
I don't know how to do it either, but we've got 3 or 4 or 5, rural churches in the area, and it would be nice if they could worship in private in solitude, quiet, whatever. If they're having a funeral, they can do that.
Yeah, I
That's
agree
my
with that,
concern.
yeah. Because I've been to a couple funerals where guys in cars,
Yeah.
go by and, so, yeah. Then we could add that phrase that,
During church.
during,
Religious
any
activities.
congregating at church.
We had a funeral earlier this spring where somebody must have had a race car or something, and he kept revving that thing up, and it was just awful.
So we probably word it church events or something.
Not within so many miles of, you'd almost have to just say any church during the day or something like that. It's how you would,
Oh, well,
because these people might not know that there's an event in the church.
There are also cemeteries, things like that. We had a guy at the service on Saturday with a drone trying to, finally the sheriff in Winnebago County said, "You're done, put it away," yada, yada, yada. But, there are also services that, and I realize they do a 21 gun salute for veterans and things like that, but,
Yeah, but that's attention.
that's exactly
With the honor.
totally different than
Yeah.
throwing a package of fireworks out the window.
We didn't quite get a 21 gun salute yesterday out at the cemetery. Four of the 5 misfired.
I'm just throwing out food for thought, guys.
So you have to include cemeteries and churches.
And I can't think of any place else, that the county would regulate. It would be a city regulation for anything else, but.
So we'd have to come up with some wording then for how,
Or Adam could
or have Adam do it. Okay, so we'll
table that one.
table this one again. All right. Number 5, 9:30 a.m., discuss communications department, E91 and new jail.
Well, last week we were approached by the sheriff and Mr. Caldwell about what the dispatchers indicated that they weren't going to cover certain areas of the jail. I guess we kind of wanted to sit down with all of us and hash this out and figure out what's going on, how we can resolve any issues and things like that.
So from a communication standpoint, currently in the way we've always operated is the dispatchers are in charge of the jail and doing jail checks when there's not a jailer on duty. And it takes, if there's 2, 3, 4 guys, maybe even up to 8 guys, if they're all awake, and you go back there and you check on them and they're up and about and they're breathing whatever, and you come back, it takes about a minute. And so that only takes them out of the dispatch center for a minute. We leave doors open so we can hear if something's going on in the dispatch center. We can't always hear when we're all the way in the jail, but might take up to 4 minutes depending on if they ask for something, if they need toilet paper or something like that. And that's always been a concern for us, being away from 911, being away from the radio, being away from the phones for that time. In the new facility, if we move out there prior to getting more jail staff next fiscal year, it's kind of unknown how long it's going to take, but doors will close behind the dispatcher. There'll be 2 doors that close. I walked it the other day. It took 2 minutes just to walk it. Depends on, if they're laying down and I have to go in and, I have to not go in, but go to the door and look and see if they're breathing. How long is it gonna take? I don't really know, but there's concern that, if 911's ringing while the dispatcher's doing a jail check, what happens if they don't answer the 911 phone? Because that's what their job is to do, is answer 911. What if an officer needs assistance and they're not in there to answer the officer? There's gonna be a lot more people in the new building, so we're assuming jail checks are gonna take longer. It's gonna take them out of the dispatch center for a longer amount of time. Even right now, like when dispatch is busy, they don't do jail checks. So I checked earlier this month, that I checked 5 3 to 11 shifts where there was, I think the jailer was leaving like at 5 those days. There was 2 jail checks that were late. And we're told that it's liability on dispatch if they don't do their jail checks. If somebody dies, then the dispatcher is liable because they didn't do their jail check. But at the same time, if the dispatcher's out doing a jail check and 911 rings and somebody dies, now is that the dispatcher's responsibility because they weren't doing their job there? So, that's kind of where we're at with all of this.
Is there any way to have any kind of cordless communication to take with you, just to start the call?
Something that will, like a pager that will tell you.
Not with,
That when the, whatever goes off in your dispatch office, if it would ring onto like a little pager and start beeping, telling you that there's something going on, so you want to get back.
not that I know of.
How quick does, your next operator answer if you don't answer?
Well, I did a test the other day, and it's supposed to roll, so like 911 calls are supposed to roll over to the next county. And I let it ring for 2 minutes, and it didn't roll over, so I don't know if it's longer than that, but 2 minutes was a long time when I wasn't in an emergency. And so then I said to the dispatcher that was there, I said, well, why don't you answer it and transfer it to Hancock County so we can make sure that that's not the issue here? And it went through just fine. So I'm not really sure. I'm going to be looking into that to find out. And the other thing is we get emergency calls on the landline. So if those don't get answered, there's no rollover for those.
There's no way to have it ring through the hallways, or, when it rings in. I mean, like businesses that I've been in or whatever, when their phone goes off, it goes off all over the building. You can hear it ringing, not just from the phone itself.
Yeah, and that's only half of the problem. Because the other half of the problem is if dispatch is busy, they're not going to do a jail check. They're just not.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of times when they go unchecked. And the more people you have in jail, the more likelihood of a problem happening because they're not being supervised.
The other thing to add that she hasn't touched on, they're also going to be doubling their workload with the control center. She's talking strictly about dispatch. They now have 5 or 6 different areas that they have to do. They have utilities, they have doors, they have lights, they have water. Now everything's push button on their computer, or the control center computer, which they have. There's actually like 5 of those screens, and they have everything jammed into one little screen. So she hasn't touched on that, but that is also something that dispatch is, under this system, is supposed to be doing.
Yeah, that's a concern too. So the person that is supposed to be controlling the doors, unlocking and locking doors, if the dispatcher is the only person in the building, the person controlling the doors is going to leave the secured area. So if there's a malfunction, then they could get locked out of dispatch. Because by code, we can't prop doors open in this building. We can't just leave them open. So if they close behind us, what happens if they lock? And then we can't get back in.
So what's, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, what's our staffing going to be when we open the new jail? Are we gonna have the same staffing that we've been having, or what's the plans there?
The staffing study is going on right now. I actually have completed that. Here's what it'll say. And this is for small counties in Iowa. It's a templated study, and it will show you're going to need 10.5 people to handle jail and control. Okay? That's what it'll say. Now, are we obligated to that by law? No, you're not. But that is what the jail inspector, when we were talking to him, he came up with that number. That's what he said, just counting it through his head. That's what it came up to. It's like 10.5 to cover those two things. Now, if you're going to take females full-time, you have to have a mix of, say, 5 male, 5 female. What normally can happen if everything is under the same entity, you can take 5 jailers, 5 dispatchers, and work them, cross-train them, go back and forth. And you, with your scheduling and your hiring practices and stuff like that, you can condense that. What you're talking about is 15. 5 jailers, 5 control, 5 dispatch, and you can condense that down to that 10.5. Does that make sense? But it all resolves around how you schedule and the male-female ratio as well when you're trying to hold both male and female in a facility also comes into play. You cannot move in that facility. Somebody that's arrested has to be moved. They'll see a magistrate within 24 hours. They have to be moved from where they're at, which is also a problem for the dispatch. That's the farthest away. They have to be now moved into their general cells. If you've got a male, you cannot move that male until you have a male moving them. And same thing with the female, except you have to have a female in there all the time. So those are some of the problems. Bottom line, it's supposed to be 10. That's what the template will say. 5 jailers, 5 control officers, 5 dispatchers. You can condense that down to about 10.5 from 15 if you're all on the same page, all under the same control entity for scheduling, that type of thing.
But since we're working with a commission and
Another entity, that's correct.
They're not the same.
That's right. Their agenda, currently we have 2 different organizations with 2 different agendas.
I appreciate the information here, but why are you presenting this to us? We don't have control over this. We have control over your budget, but that's it.
Well, there's been a lot of question about when we're going to move, and for dispatch, I don't want to move dispatch currently because I'm concerned about what their responsibilities to the jail are going to be if we move them, and the jail can't move till dispatch moves, or so that's one of the reasons I think why we're having this discussion.
The jail will not be able to open until the policies and procedures are approved by the state, and then they have received our staff study. And they've already received the policies and procedures. They hadn't approved them, and now they will not approve them until this conflict is taken care of.
Is there a current policy in place or agreement in place between the 2 entities that says the dispatchers will cover for jail?
I don't think there's an agreement between the 2 entities. There's, in the job description, it says that, the dispatchers will do jail checks. And in the jail policy, it says that the dispatchers will do jail checks when there's no staff there. But that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but when a new dispatcher is hired, they are hired under the understanding that they're going to do jail checks, and part of their salary actually comes out of the jail budget, or did it at one time?
That's something that I've always heard but never seen.
Charles?
Their salaries are specifically paid for out of communications, as far as I know.
There is no transfer of funds or anything like that.
No. I think that misconception came about because they would get it raised when they were jail certified. But there is nothing that, I mean, there's nothing extra that the county gives specifically because they do jail duties.
Well, it seems to me that this conversation should be had specifically between your board and Dave, and hash out what needs to be hashed out.
That was one of the questions I had. I didn't think our board, the commission, had formally acted on anything that would change anything. That's why I want to know if there's an agreement in place. We have two separate policies that allows for it, and our board never really acted on it. So I thought that was a little taken back that this was put forward that we weren't going to do this. So I was a little miffed by that.
Okay.
Well, what is it that you guys want to see? I mean, obviously you must want something to change that you want.
Well, so at this point, I mean, I know that you guys are hiring you're going to be hiring 3 more jailers. That will alleviate a lot of the problem. But yeah, we would like to see the jail staffed so that dispatch doesn't have to do jail checks, because the new facility, just the way by design, how it is, I mean, this is something that I have always thought should be, we go to jail school, I'm required to do 20 hours of jail school every year, and they always talk about how irresponsible it is to use dispatchers as jailers. So that's what we're taught, that, it's a liability for the county to have dispatchers be jailers, because dispatchers should be dispatching and jailers should be jailing. And I understand that there is, it costs money to staff a jail 24 hours. It costs money. And, people's taxes might go up because we have to staff the jail. But that's what I would like to see, is the jail fully staffed so that dispatch doesn't have to jail. Now, is that going to be reality? Probably not. But I don't want dispatch to move out there with 2 full-time jailers on staff, because that leaves 16, 17 hours a day where dispatch is responsible for however many people are in that jail.
So with 3 more full-time staff out there, we would still have a gap.
Probably the later gap, say as a guess, 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. There's going to be a gap.
And that'd be easier for us to swallow, to have a jailer or a dispatcher, because traffic is less. There's a lot less coming into dispatch from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. That the possibility of something getting missed is less likely.
Cassuth County, which has less jail population, than we do have 12 people on staff as jailers only. Jailers and control people. And they have much less jail population than we have.
What's the difference between jailers and control?
Control is the guy that sits right now it's in the comm room, and he runs around the buttons so the jailers can do the jail checks, gets the doors, things like that.
It looks like to me, if the dispatchers don't want any involvement at all in the jail checks, then they're kind of in the way. I mean, they shouldn't be in that area.
I would agree with that.
If they were.
Yeah,
But since we designed it so that they could be a part of the system, that's where I hate to go back and spend more money.
Sure.
It would be the commission that would have to spend that money. It wouldn't be the county. County would be part of it, but.
Right. Well, and it really wasn't, I mean, it wasn't designed to be a dispatch center. It was designed to be a control center. We're finding out more and more as we look at what's in that room. And, our second station is not going to be like a dispatch station because of the windows, and yeah, it's it was designed to be a control room. That was how it was built. And we're gonna do the best that we can with what we have.
So me personally, so I can get, I'm probably more visual than to talk to. Is there a time in the next week that you can get your board together and actually just go off of jail and show the logistical,
We showed them that last.
Well, but there wasn't
week.
very many people that were there. The one person that was there left early, and there was about 3 board members that remained
Yeah.
to do the tour.
just go through the scenarios you've given to us this morning already and say, here's the time it's gonna take and
Right.
you
Well-
gotta make a decision and make it quick.
Right, but I would like to wait until after, because what is it, next week they're gonna do some training on the doors and how that is all controlled.
Then you'll have a better knowledge of how it's gonna operate.
Right, yeah,
Well, that's fine, that's great, just, and I'd like to be part of it, just to, you know, just for the informational side of it. I don't have to be, you know.
right.
Is it something, so next week they're doing that one?
We're supposed to start Monday and run for about a week.
Okay. Should that be something that's part of our board meeting where all 3 of us can go out there? Is that gonna be invasive on what they're doing, or?
Not invasive for me, I would welcome you guys to come out.
I just wonder if at some point in our meeting, we all go out there, we see what they're talking about. Well,
Yeah, and the way dispatch understands it is, you know, we will be helping out controlling the doors. So especially in the beginning, they won't need jail staff controlling the doors. But we won't really know until we're out there, like how long do the jailers need to wait for dispatch to open and close doors and things like that. I mean, there's just a lot that's unknown right now, and I think, yeah, so I think there's just, we kind of need to see what it's gonna look like, but we also wanted to bring our concern to our commission about, you know, if,
Seems like to me we should have brought all these concerns before we ever passed the new jail.
But part of it is you don't know what it's, until you physically go out there and look at it, you really don't know. And the expansion we did changed.
Well, and then the other thing that
Everybody was on board with building a new jail, I believe all you guys were. Should have been discussed.
The other thing we weren't aware of, Bill, is that Hancock County wants to bring all their prisoners up here. So that would be an additional guys coming in the middle of the night, you know, plus
I've got a bunch of people already telling me, I told you so, that there was gonna end up being more staffing out.
well, when I first heard about this, I was told that dispatch wouldn't have to leave the control center to do a jail check. So yeah, we were on board with that. We're like, well, that'd be great. We could just look out the windows. And I don't know who said it or how that misconception got presented to us, but that's what my understanding was in the beginning.
That was my understanding too,
Yeah.
that the cells were going to be right
Are there,
there off the dispatch.
Well, and they are, some of them, but we can't, legally, we can't do a jail check that way. So I don't know if
are there cameras in every cell?
there are, but the state law says that you have to physically check them. Yeah.
So a number of the cells, you can physically do it through the windows?
That's the way we understood it was going to be.
Right.
But it's not like that.
Right.
So even the ones you can see through the windows, you still have to go in the cell?
Yes.
You
Is it a
physically have
common
to go
area
in the cell?
You go in the cell,
Well, not with, okay, so not with the person,
okay,
so,
You have to go.
You have to go through the hallway.
Each separate door, or?
You have to ensure, they have to ensure that every person in there is breathing and alive. Do they have, no, a dispatcher will not walk into that cell.
okay.
But they have to walk around to the window of the door with a flashlight.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to get flashlights
Well,
that,
I'm just happy.
to verify
They're not
that.
going in the cell with it,
Right.
and that was gonna be to me, would have been a a liability, we should've got rid of it.
There is one of those cells out there, the work release cell, which, to meet state law, somebody might have to go in there because of the way it's built. In other words, if you look through the window, you can see maybe the beds, but there's a whole section, half of that you can't see in there. So if somebody's around the corner,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to go in and check. But those are low risk, that's a low risk cell. It's for work release and weekenders coming in to serve their time. But a dispatcher will never go into a cell.
What's our schedule look like so far?
Wow.
Do we have any hearings or? I think we're at a critical time where we need to address this and get things taken care of. We need to keep moving forward rather than stalling.
There's nothing with times on
Okay.
it so far.
Yeah, so it's light so far.
Nothing,
Other things we're probably adding from the day.
yeah,
Okay.
I can go at any time at this point.
So what, do you think a 10:30 visit out there to do a walkthrough, and would that be in our best interest?
If you want
Yeah,
it,
I would think nighttime would be better for your board, wouldn't it?
Well, I'm just thinking if we got out there with them to start with.
Well, I don't see where we have to even be involved. I just would like to be there for information. I don't have to be, so you won't hurt my feelings if you were to, put this up for time where I can't be there, so.
Could I just ask then, is it you guys' position that there does not need to be any kind of agreement between the county and this other entity?
Well, you are the county on this.
Well,
That's,
but I don't know,
Simple.
can the sheriff negotiate a 2080 agreement or something?
that's his office, yes.
Okay,
But I think we still have to, stamp it and approve it if it's a 2080. But
it
we
just
would
seems
rather
to
have it
me,
come
yeah, it
between-
just seems to me that, her people don't have to follow our policy. There's no recourse from us, there is from them, and vice versa.
County government is all screwed up. Look at drainage.
Yeah,
A farmer doesn't have recourse against the decisions we make. It's unfortunate, so.
there has to be a clear understanding between these two boards, what everybody's supposed to do.
Yeah.
I would agree with that because, I mean, I don't feel comfortable telling the dispatchers that it's okay for them to be outside of dispatch for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I'm not sure really how long it's going to be. So that's one of the reasons why we're like, well, we're not going to do that because we have a responsibility to dispatch and then to our Public Safety Commission. But is it going to take 5-10 minutes? Well, it could. I don't really know for sure, but I think that 5 minutes is realistic.
Since it's Hancock County inmates, we're increasing our load along with ours. The process for when you leave your station, is there a process where you can have it easily rolled over to Hancock County, say?
Well, 911 is supposed to roll over to them if it goes unanswered.
Okay.
Now, whether that's happening or not, I need to get in touch, because I did it.
Is there a way to up that to less time rollover if you know you're gonna be gone from your station?
Possibly, but okay, so it rolls over. So let's say it takes a minute and it rolls over to Hancock County and they need an ambulance and they call us for an ambulance and we don't answer.
Well, either that, or if you're gonna go back and do the jail check, you just have something where you can hit the button where it automatically rolls over to Hancock until you get back and flip the switch again.
But we have
The
an agreement in
911
place with Hancock on that.
Yeah, the 911 system is not. I don't think that's a possibility. I really don't.
When we were discussing combining, there was some discussion of what the capabilities are, and I didn't know if
Right.
we advanced that far yet.
Yeah, it's it's a really antiquated system that they're working on upgrading and integrating, like the wireless and the landline calls. But, I mean, we went 6 months with having about a third of Hancock County calls rolling over to us for no reason. I mean, obviously there was a reason, but they shouldn't have been. And it took them 6 months to figure that out, why that was happening. And it's a programming thing, so, you know, to roll over calls, I think they could possibly shorten up the time, but to just say, okay, right now I want it to, and now I don't, that's something that,
You gotta remember to undo it when you get back.
well, we wouldn't be able to do that. That'd be something that TCS, who does the programming, would have to do, and I don't think there's like a button that we could push. I think that's all it's all technical.
Well, in a
and-
perfect world, once you leave your station, it automatically switches over. You have some kind of tracking device where
Mhm.
you're in the building. If they had something like that, that would be fantastic.
It would be, yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
But I'm sure it costs money, if it's available.
I'm sure it probably would, yeah.
Well, maybe after the meeting next week, you can just go out and walk through.
I've been out there. But in my opinion, what needs to be done is a mock emergency situation, so that your board members can see how long it takes for a situation. And like I say, I don't have to be there, it'd be interesting to be there.
Bill, in answer to your question for your constituents that are talking about jail staffing, when this thing first hit the drawing board, we were talking about 4, maybe 5 prisoners from Winnebago County. And that number has increased twofold, and if we bring Hancock County in, it'll increase 3 or 4-fold, and there's your reply.
Well, that's what we built the new jails, because of the prediction that this was gonna happen, that there would be an increase.
Well, we had no prediction about Hancock County being,
No, that part, is something that, the other is still, should have been anticipated or whatever, or.
I think when we first started this, you know, the estimate was 4 to 15 increase. And the
4 to 15, but
the question was brought up, when you get to that 10 to 15, is the staff gonna be sufficient? They made it sound like it would, but I think,
Well, that's turning out not to be true.
Right.
So I told you so, sir.
so partially,
Which, I know what my answers is that there's the requirements and the liabilities, like the liability of that. I mean, I understand that. I mean, it's my reply to a lot of it. It's, anyway, so you guys are gonna get your boards together and hash out a solution to all this?
I imagine you're gonna start working things through the security checks and things like that and the training. And then put the board together to,
Yes, that's what we will work on doing.
sounds good.
Yeah, so it'll probably be, and then just so you know, we talked to our vendors, and when we set a date, they need 6 weeks advance notice before we can move out there, and we have not set a date yet. But as far as, so we'll do some training next week, and then I'm gonna be on vacation, so it's probably gonna be closer to the end of June before we can get our board back together and kind of talk about this. But you know, and Rick and we've talked at length about different things, and you know, we feel that once he gets his, you know, the 3 people that he's going to be hiring up and going, this is going to hopefully alleviate a lot of these concerns that we have.
So your concern was probably tenfold compared to where if we get the 3 people, then that would take a lot of clerkship off.
Right. So, yeah, so my concern is, you know, rushing into moving out there,
Without staff.
without staff.
Okay.
So, and I don't know what the public's perception of us, waiting a little bit to move out there, but I think that it'd be the responsible thing to do is, get people trained up, hired, trained, dispatchers trained, jailers trained of how it's going to look out there, and staffing levels higher, and then we'll figure out, how to do the balancing act.
That would seem the prudent thing to do.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, up.
Can we do the law enforcement thing real quick?
Signing.
Didn't we sign this?
We acted on before, and now we just.
Yeah, we just need to sign it.
Okay. Consider for approval, signing agreement for municipal law enforcement protection of Leland, Rake, Scarville, and Thompson.
No, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion Derby, second Stedford, to approve signing an agreement with the municipal law enforcement protection of Leland, Rake, Scarville, and Thompson. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Yeah. You sure did, so I didn't need you quite so quick.
That's okay.
Unless you want to sit through all this, number 10 is just signing a contract with WH to do the work, to go out and do the surveying work. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Sure. I guess I'll start.
Hey, I know I looked at it before, and I told before that water is supposed to go south of Highway 9, and all that water's coming north. And right there on my mom's property, there's a big box, 4x4 box, culvert. And from 190th Street west, there's a 4-foot culvert. And if you look on this map here, here's 190th. And here's this, all the arrow, here's where water's supposed to go west. And it's supposed to go underneath the box and go south. And they dammed this all up, so all the water's coming north. All that surface water is coming north and north here, so there's no place for that water to go.
So that's what started the problem.
Well, it's been a problem for years, like I say, 30 years, 35. And every year my dad go out there and farm, it's like, how come they don't fix it? How come they don't fix it? And it seemed like everybody acts like, hey, where's this madman Elliott? He dug that ditch. It seemed like everybody's against me, everybody hates me, and I'm just trying to fix a simple problem. Ain't like the first year, we talked about, and the next day I did something. 35 years. And I said, here's a map that shows it, they're supposed to go south, and nobody ever believed me.
So the natural flow would be just
Right.
into the field.
Right.
And be damned if we
Right. Dirt. Because they didn't want the water coming that way.
And I don't know who said this, but this is the Iowa State.
Yeah, this is the Iowa DOT map, the engineer map.
Who down there?
The people that own the property to the south.
And you can tell it looks just like a dike.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that Birchka's or which part of south?
That'd be Tweetins.
Because they have the field.
Right.
Yeah, okay. I was just trying to figure out which south part, okay.
So when you got 4-foot culvert coming one way, 4 foot the other way, in a little 10-inch tile, no way it's gonna handle it. And then, I got these arrow, I got that in there? Oh, right here. No, I don't.
Oh, it's on that desk right there.
And you guys got better maps than I do, but you can go to the aerial maps, back to, I can only go back to 94. And to say that I wrecked that tile back in 94, it never worked. So there's a bunch of aerial maps there.
And this is all stuff we'll want to give to Andy.
That sounds like something the engineer should look at.
Right.
I don't know if he's got some stuff from DOT and
I guess some maps from the DOT that shows that the water should go south.
through that big culvert.
Well, I know there was a plan years ago to replace that, to take it south, and then, they were gonna put an 18, I think it was.
Yeah, I'm just talking,
Into the
yeah,
ditch.
there's supposed to be 18 coming up, I'm just talking surface water. The surface water's supposed to go south,
He's saying it's dammed up on the south side,
dammed up the north side,
or the north side?
on my side.
On their side.
Right.
You have dikes on the south side.
That's on the south side, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it can't go south, it has to go north.
Yeah, they've stopped the flow and
Right.
just back up.
Because underneath 190th, there's a big 4-foot culvert,
Yeah.
and that water heads west. Okay, and then that big box the state put underneath, all that water from the west, it shows on that map, it's got arrows, it's supposed to go south, but it can't go south because it dammed it up. So now I'm taking a 4-foot culvert from the west, and I'm taking a 4-foot box from the south, heading north.
I really think, the whole issue here really isn't the surface water, really, because you've
It's
pretty well
surface water.
fixed that.
Well, I fixed it now, yeah.
But the big issue is the tile that services the neighbors to the east. And
Well, we gotta start somewhere, you guys didn't want the ditch, and now I took care of all the surface water. So, I mean, if you wanna fill in a ditch and put a 4-foot pipe in, I don't care, The county wants to pay for a 4-foot pipe, we can fill a ditch in. But we gotta do something with all that surface water.
Well, I think what the main issue was is that we have to have an outlet, right?
We got all the, now with a ditch,
Yeah, but it's not outletting into, a facility owned by the county or whatever, or the drainage district. We have to, legally, we have to have an outlet into our own, so we would have to, annex the
you could annex it.
end or whatever, but,
Cause Wood County right now, they got a big drainage problem, and it's gonna cost like $1.3 million to fix the tile. And they're thinking about taking all the tile out and put an open ditch in. They are.
and everyone knows why you did it. It's not, nobody here has said to Crazy Elliot, I mean, it's purely, it's the thing about the tile itself, as far as making that legal, and then somewhat the quality of the steepness of the ditch that you done, as far as the erodibility of it. If we were to annex it, we would be maintenance it all the time because of the way it was designed.
But it could be fixed.
Yeah, no, it could be fixed.
But well, we were just gonna hire the engineer officially to go out and look at it and give his opinions on it.
Right.
Then you'd be able to come in and talk to us about it at that point.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I guess I just don't wanna be railroaded or
No.
sidetracked, and it's like,
No.
well, let's have this meeting without
We
Elliot
have
knowing.
certain-
oh, no, that would
We have
not.
certain codes we have to meet and the way we do business, and we gotta follow the rules. So we gotta put all our ducks in a row, and then I think this information you brought to us is very informational.
Yeah, especially if someone's got it blocked on the other side.
Right, and those are all things that Andy can do and just look at the whole picture and what's best for that lateral.
That's what he can do better than we can.
But I mentioned it 2 years ago and nothing happened, and it just seemed like when my name gets brought up, and it's like, well, everybody hates me, let's not do nothing for Elliot, So,
I've never heard that.
We just want it right. Whatever it's supposed to be, just make it right.
cause like on Nius, you put a perfectly good main in, I don't think anybody argues that main takes water, and you went above and beyond, and you had more drainage. So I didn't know it was the county's job to go above and beyond and give a guy more drainage, even though he's got a perfect good outlet. And I just wanted a perfect good outlet, it's the only thing I ever wanted.
Anyway, that's what we're all about right now.
Right, thank you.
Yep.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
We can do this later.
You guys wanna keep that stuff, or that's fine?
Yeah.
Are you fine with that?
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
What's that? All right, Okay, 10 a.m. public hearing for fiscal year 2017 budget amendment.
Make a motion to open the meeting.
I'll second it.
A motion Sedgwick, a second Derby, to open public hearing for fiscal year 2017 budget amendment. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
We have amendment for debt service, public safety, social services, and administration.
Administration.
Administration was township trustees or over, I guess.
No comments?
Any comments from the public?
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Uh,
You don't have a comment, I know you don't.
I'll second it.
Motion Derby, second Sedgwick, to close the public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2017 budget amendment as proposed.
Second.
Motion Derby, second Sedgwick, to approve the the 2017 budget amendment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Your signature here, and your signature here. And then all these things are in here. Just to make sure. And then all those you sign, those are done. Chris.
That's it. Thank you. So, there, okay, 10:15 a.m., consider for approval engineering report for DD1.
The drawing I put up here shows you the open ditch of DD1, and this is what we've done the study on to determine how much silt is in it. I gave Chris a copy of the report, which includes all the plan sheets. I wasn't going to give you all plan sheets. We can get you copies if you want, but I will give you copies of the body of the report, and it includes a drawing of the route in it also. And a lot of silt in that ditch. I was amazed. It flows decent, so I was kind of surprised. This was established prior to 1909. We could not find an actual date of establishment, but there was some action in 1909, so it's part of that. Our assumption is this is the first district in the county, if you number them sequentially. A lot of history. I usually jump right to the cost estimate on page 3. Just want to point out a couple of quick things on the drawing. Overall, it has a lot of silt in it. Here, right down in the area between what was DD8 and DD1, just over 4 feet of silt down there. And then there's 3 areas that are bad up just downstream from lateral 4. The one furthest downstream has just short of 4.2 feet, and then the 2 right up close to the outlet of lateral 4, one of them's 5.6 feet and one almost 6 feet even. Unbelievable. I wouldn't have guessed it in how that's flowing. So that has to be creating problems for anything upstream from here and in lateral 4. It's just a tremendous amount of silt. Bottom line on it, we've figured out that was over 93,000 cubic yards. I understand you usually bid yours by the lineal foot, so I also included the footage in there, just short of 65,000 lineal feet of ditch. Contractors are used to seeing our cubic yard quantities. Gives them a better idea on how much time is actually involved in doing the work. Then we also have a ton of outlet pipes that appear to need repair. They're bent or broken or just are issues. So I came up with total construction. We always had 10% contingencies because of unknowns you find as you go along. Have the engineering, legal, and admin costs, have the cost of reclassification, interest. Came up with $551,000, including all of this. When we get to the reclassification, you'll see that we spread $500,000 in that because I think that's closer to what the actual cost is going to be. We've had some recent bids where the excavation was less than $3 a cubic yard. That alone would save 20 grand just right away. So the reclassification came in under $2 an acre, which I was thrilled with. And I gave you that figure. I felt comfortable with it, and it turned out that way. So it's a repair. So you basically, you'll set the hearing at this morning yet, right? Okay. That's it in a nutshell. This is all taken care of, including 8 in 1 in the future to simplify things. And it gives Chris then an electronic version of the reclassification.
Now, when you say end clean out, that gets to a point where it was cleaned out before?
Yes. Yep. As near as we can tell.
Last year or something?
There's a piece up here that was cleaned out. You can see we say end clean out project here. Yeah. First time I was over here looking at it, they had just finished this and hadn't even leveled it. So yeah, we're just going to that point. That's a quick and dirty summary of the report.
One thing I was going to mention.
Yeah.
Seeding and fertilizing, we normally do on a separate.
Oh.
We have a contractor that does our local work for seeding and fertilizing. So
Oh, that's wonderful. Now.
A separate.
Okay,
part.
that's a good thing. Do they also do the slopes that are disturbed? Because some of the slopes are going to be disturbed some.
They can, but I think they prefer not to.
As far as seeding them?
They just do the banks.
Okay.
The top. Okay, that's how I thought it would work.
Yeah.
We allow for the contractor broadcasting seed every day on the disturbed areas to try and get some growth started on the slope.
Okay.
And then a lot of counties have gone to arranging the seeding on top separately.
Yeah.
All the seed mixtures are different, if it's CRP, it's just a,
That's why we have them do it, because they know exactly what.
yes, we tried doing it for a few years, arranging it with the contractor bidding the dirt work, nightmare.
Yeah, a lot of them don't even want to deal with it.
Exactly, they much prefer not to. So what you see here is just doing the slopes, and I hope to get a lot better price than that when they're doing it, but it is long, so.
Yeah, I think that would be a good way to do it.
So now you go to the reclass.
So,
So
Okay.
are we going
annexation,
to approve his report on DD1 first?
Yeah, we should go in order.
Yeah.
So,
I guess I would make a motion to approve the engineering report for DD1.
Second that.
Motion carried, and a second from Stetser to approve the engineering report for DD1. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, 10:20 a.m., consider for approval annexation report for DD1.
I flipped that over, the areas shaded in red are the areas, and there's a smaller version of that attached to these. We've discovered in a lot of what we do that pieces are omitted, whether they're just dropped, sometime in the past. Sometimes they're fringe areas that for some reason they decided should not be assessed. But what this does is it gets everybody in the watershed to be part of the district. The big thing it accomplishes is, you can see all of DD8 shaded. That's going to take care of that being part of one. So, this boundary also includes like 8 or 9 other districts that fall within this district boundary. So they're all assessed as if they're just part of it by themselves. They will also then have a classification for the tile in their own district. But everybody inside the red line now will be paying towards this repair. And what you see in front of you is a summary of all those parcels. Some of them are small.
So about 1,000 acres.
Yes, yeah.
and what will be nice for me is he has it in the DD14, all of the parcels are just in DD1. I don't have to sit and figure out what I'm supposed to do for an outlet. They're just included in it. But DD14 is also separate, and then if we do work in the DD14, it's just their own.
That's just the cleanest we could make it, and
Right, so I don't have to worry how I'm going to build DD1, it's just set up for me.
Because it's a mess now.
It's a huge,
well, I have a copy of the one that you're using now, and yeah. I mean, no, it's not. This should be way, way, way cleaner, so.
And as far as the annexation portion of it, a lot of those areas have been questions for years.
I'm not surprised, yeah.
I guess I can blame it mostly on, the technology wasn't available.
Oh, yeah.
or splits in the past that just something got dropped off and said continued on.
Yes,
And
a split, and all of it would go to one of the 2 parcels that you ended up with. You'll sometimes find them right in the middle. I wouldn't be surprised if I found one just even right there, but that would have been kind of like a parcel split, and all of the levy went with one of the parcels, and the other one was just dropped out. Easy to happen, understand how it can happen, but this should clean all of that up.
You said DD14?
That's in the middle of this,
yeah,
along Highway 9.
or that was just an example number.
Yeah, here you want.
I just took a picture of that was transferred over.
Thompson's just on the other side.
Yeah.
What detail is this it? That orange?
Yeah.
Here's a summary of all the,
It dumps into the ditch directly.
here's a summary of all the districts that dump into it. There's a lot of them.
That's a pretty important issue.
Yeah, oh boy, is it ever. Yeah,
So, all said and done, let's see, what was it, I gotta look here at the report. These were involved in the whole thing.
I guess you have a reclass, no, you,
I have the commissioner's report.
okay.
25,224 acres altogether after the annex.
I think that's right, I was gonna look in here. Yes, 25,924.
924.
I think that's what
I've
it
got
is.
324 on where this was split out.
Oh, okay, well, that, I don't know which was done first, but this should be correct, the reclassification.
All right. So it's over 25,000.
Chris will have her hands full getting all the notices out.
I'm sure it's a smile.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's pretty much what we were looking for information. We knew there was a mess, and we knew we had to solve something. So now, this reclass covers like sub-district 1, lat 2, and all of that, right?
I think the sub-district is covered, but we didn't do a separate classification for all the districts that fall within here.
Right.
You have ones you're fairly comfortable with, I assume. I mean, we'd love to do them all.
Right.
We did not reclass these.
Right,
Those.
right. But everything else inside the red line is reclassed.
Will they be renumbering at all, or?
Not
It's
really.
called like sub-district 1, lat 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how we've left that anyway. You can do an affidavit to change them pretty easily if something else made sense to you.
And this covers any disparities as far as outlet fees and everything.
Right. By including each of those districts in our reclassification, that takes care of everybody inside that other district paying their fair share.
You have to look at it as the parcel within that sub-district or
Right.
whatever
Right.
is now right in DD1. It's not
There you go.
actually that.
So DD1 has it all,
Yes.
whereas before it just had an outlet fee. Well, I didn't know how to build outlet.
How do you bill that? Yeah.
Yeah. So.
So she'll have that electronically and just can decide what she needs to levy and hit the button and,
Well, no, I have to get into my version 10.
Oh, okay.
Then.
I made it easier than it was, yeah. Okay.
Yes, it'll be much easier. Because then I just have to balance my report with this and I'm good, done.
Excellent.
Make a motion to approve the annexation report then?
I'll make it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you okay with it?
Just so I know here, that, what we're approving here is the $50,000 class. Is there engineering in that too? Is there any of that cost of engineering on this?
Well, there is a charge on engineering to include the annexation, the preliminary on the ditch, the field work on the ditch. The reclass is a separate category.
Right.
But the $2 an acre times 25,000.
That's, yeah, that covers the reclass and it actually.
You said a little under 2,000.
Yeah. The 50,000 I have in the preliminary engineering report is on the high side of what the reclass actually cost.
Right, okay.
But everything else, the annexation, the preliminary engineering report, all the field work, those are separate items from the
And
reclass.
that's included with the, we're approving to go ahead with
bids on the project itself? Is that?
You will be. You will be. You will be. Yeah, that's another step you'll take
Right.
today. Yes. The end result of this is we'll get everybody annexed, the reclassification will cover all of them, and then we'll get a bid date set, so we come up with actual construction costs. Yeah.
Gotcha.
If I answered it, I hope. Okay.
Thank you.
Lat 4, for instance,
Mhm.
is that gonna be another engineering process to look at clean out on that?
Yes, and we're very close. I've got somebody in the office concentrating on that anytime he's in the office. I'm thinking 2 or 3 weeks away. Now, what I want to talk to Chris about is, do we just make sure we have it done and then do that the same day as you have these hearings, for example?
So I'm wondering if it'd be best to do it.
That'd be yeah.
How about if we just follow this agenda, and then we'll answer a lot of those questions?
Good point. Sure.
Because he's going to, at the end, have drainage project updates.
Well, if there's no more questions on the reclass,
We still have to do 14.
annexation. Oh, annexation. I thought we just made that motion.
You started it, and then Mike had a question.
No, I just wrote it in the wrong spot. I'll make a motion to approve the annexation report for DD1.
I'll second it. Motion Sedgwick, second. Motion Derby, second by Sedgwick to approve the annexation report for DD1. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. 10:25 a.m. Consider for approval reclassification report for DD1.
Okay, Chris has the signed originals for that. I'm just going to give you a real quick summary on how we approached this. And I did give her multiple copies of it with the dollar figure there, using the $500,000. One group of them has them by parcel number, and the other has them alphabetically by landowner. A lot of times the landowners like to have a copy with it alphabetically. They just flip through there until they find their name, and all of theirs are right there. So, one thing I was going to give you, burdening you with paperwork here. This is a summary we've developed through the years. It's our starting basis, and we use soils a lot. We rely on soils a lot. The left number is the soil identification number, then we give a description, and then the right column is the points per acre. Soils tells you so much about a farm. The potential to raise crop, how bad drainage is needed, gives you elevation, gives you a slope. It covers several factors by just using soils. And like I say, we've developed this through the years. I mentioned to Chris before we came in here, we've done these in like 5 or 6 counties, and still we came up with a few new ones in Winnebago County. Never ceases to amaze me. But, soil survey book is very valuable in that. It gives good descriptions of the soils and the need for drainage. Matter of fact, there's maybe 5 or 10% of them that say good for crop production if drained. So that's just a key thing we jump on. A lot of them describe it as being overburden on top of sand and gravel. Not much need. Don't get a lot of benefit if it's over sand and gravel. So all those kinds of things we take into account. And then what we end up with is a report. I didn't bring a copy of those in here, but
Question on this.
Yeah.
I see there was a couple of hand changes.
The last one I worked on, just within the last month, one of the commissioners, wasn't this one, but one of the commissioners did soil survey work. He did the field work in the past years to prepare the little soil survey books. He said to me, "Why is Crippen different than Nicollet? The only difference is a little difference in pH." And I was like, I can't tell you. So, The Crippen one was changed to match the other soil it is very similar to, and I don't remember what happened with this one.
That's a big change there.
Yeah. What happened, that, he was my source for that too. It sounds like a soil that you should be able to drain and make it farmable. He says you can't drain it. It's so tight, no matter what you do, you can't make it drain. So we put the minimum soil number on it.
With intakes and.
Yeah, intakes would take surface water, but you can't move it through the ground, he said.
Can you
So,
explain the points per acre, what they mean?
okay, good point. The code is very limited in what it says about reclassification. It basically just says, determine what parcel has the most benefit in the district, assign 100 points per acre. And then graduate it down to whatever, 0, based on lesser benefit. And that's why you see so many different methods of reclassification. It's just,
So I get this right, higher the number, the better the benefit.
yes, absolutely. Well put. That's exactly right. So, like the one you just mentioned, down to 5, because it's,
Urban land is 100.
yeah. And what we end up doing if we have much urban area in with ag, we'll use different point ranges for them. But that's our overall listing. So, yeah, higher the number, the more benefit, and then it's all graduated down based on lesser benefit. The other thing we do is what we call proximity. You'll be able to pick out some of this. This is a map that shows reductions we've made. For example, like this other districts we were talking about that fall within this one, they have to pay for their own tile to get to this. So we reduce those. You can see the beige color follows the main. That's because there's no further adjustment on those. And then as you get further away, we apply reductions. For example, the very north part, it has to use so much of another system to get to ditch 1 that it has the biggest reduction. And I think that blue color is a 35% reduction. Is the maximum we've applied. So we've been doing this a few years. It's worked out real well. It's explainable, I guess. That's what I like. The soils are generally explainable. This is generally explainable. You'll still get neighbor comparing to neighbor. I'm just across the fence. How can it be that much difference? Well, it can be totally different when you cross a fence. The soils, the slope. Yeah, the path it has to take to get there. Yeah, it might go a different direction just across the fence. Hate to guess how many fence lines are dams right now, but yeah, it just really changes things. So.
You remember when we reclassified Buffalo? It was about 7 years ago, 8 years ago. And the big boys, they were at the top end, and they went from like $13 to 27. How is that possible? That they didn't really get any benefit at all.
See, some companies put a proximity factor where if you use the whole ditch, you pay more. Well,
That's the way that one was, because they were at the very upper end.
And we have-
They're on the main.
so it's like, how often do you split that? That's just a personal thing. How do you decide how many times you're going to split it and what factor you apply? Yeah, that's,
So that was a different methodology.
yes. And all it would take is that one factor to really throw it that way. If they were using the whole ditch, they paid a lot more. We base so much on the type of land it is, the need for the drainage, and if they have to pay more money to get to it, you reduce it. So, it's worked out well. I'm kind of anxious to get to a hearing with you guys to go through that process, but
This is pretty much what INS uses also.
Yeah, it sounds like with last year and the last couple.
Okay. Yeah, several years ago, it must have been at least 10 years ago now, somebody decided to ask the drainage engineers in Iowa what method they used and had us do a sample. Everybody's method was different, but the end result was relatively close. Again, yeah.
So, those are the two things you look at, soil type and,
Yes, with the soil type taking into several things like slope, elevation, need for tile, what it's underlain with.
so this part of it here has to do with proximity. And
Yes, yes.
in past reports, they talked about like 5 or 6 different categories. Well, some of these are all inclusive on the last one you presented.
Yes, yes. Yeah, there's one firm that's been going around promoting a specific way, was strictly developed by them. There's nothing in the code about that at all. It's a matter of coming up with a procedure that's fair and using the 0 to 100 point range.
Questions from you guys? I'm okay with it. I'll make a motion to approve the reclassification report for D1.
Second that.
Burley, second Stenger, to approve the reclassification report for DD1. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
16, 10:30 a.m., set public hearing date for DD1 project.
The earliest date that would be your regular meeting day would be July 11th. I have a commitment that day, and I'm sure it doesn't hurt to give Chris a little extra time.
No, it doesn't hurt me a bit.
So I guess the soonest from any conflicts for me would be the 18th, a week later. And then it's a matter of if it'd be better to have more than that. It's no problem going a little longer.
Okay, so,
As far as I'm concerned, you don't have to consider us as far as the date, whatever works best.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
because I'm the one that has to get it all in the system.
yes.
And then send letters.
Ton of work.
And
can imagine.
we're at year end with already billing drains and whatever. But I know we need to get this process moving. But in the same breath, nobody's going to do it this year anyway. They're not going to start it. So what are we proposing for an end date? Are we proposing July or December of 18? I mean, how far are we pushing this out? Can I have another month then? You know what I mean? It's all.
How long is this gonna take, did you estimate?
For the digging,
Yeah.
3 months, just
Getting
quick.
together.
Yeah, right now, yeah,
Last year would have taken all year.
yeah, we've had some of that happen. Depending on the flow, yeah. And whether they bring in 2 machines or 1, and, yeah. And I guess I wouldn't rule out somebody starting this fall if the water's down, but my idea is you're gonna schedule the hearings, let's do the bid letting the same day because it's a repair. So you basically need to go forward. So we can combine all those again, 1 visit from me, and, yeah.
So that's why, yeah, I just want to know when
Do you think
that's going to be.
July 25th would be doable?
Sure. We're just going to do it. I mean, I'll just get it done.
Or can we do the 18th?
1 more week sounds just better. Sorry. So I'm sorry, the date,
And
25th.
what do you think, 10 o'clock?
Yep.
I'll make a motion to set the public hearing date for the D1 project for July 25th at 10 o'clock.
Second.
Are you
Yeah.
available?
Yeah, that's,
Good.
now that's a preliminary engineering report, because you're doing it for 3 different things, right?
Yes, we're gonna
Okay.
do the engineer's report. We're gonna set the public hearing for the annexation that day, the reclass that day, and the bid letting for that day. So everything's gonna happen that week.
You know, gonna be a separate,
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like now.
You would need to do the annexation and the reclass prior to the project, right?
Right.
Not like it is here.
Well,
Wouldn't that be-
technically, you wouldn't have to, it's a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
DD
It's just cleaner.
2527, they didn't.
Yeah.
They went the other way around, but as long as you were in the process, it qualified.
Yes, well put.
So what do we wanna do?
I just thought it would make more sense to do the annexation and the reclass first, and then,
So we should do that a different date, is what you're saying?
no,
same day, just different time on the.
But that's kind of what we're doing anyway, doing the engineering report, annex, reclass, and bid letting.
Well, push the project back to 11 o'clock and do the annexation and reclass at 10,
Okay.
or that'd be my suggestion.
You might have a lot of discussion.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I didn't anticipate.
We don't want to
Okay.
stack it like we did today.
Yeah, there'll be a lot more discussion with that many people.
that's a lot of people.
Okay,
The other
so,
thing might be a location for that.
You have to get TSB maybe,
Well, I think it'd probably be a good idea, or,
or
maybe
in Thompson.
Thompson,
Have to,
just so you can fit.
Yeah, fit everybody in there.
Yeah, 'cause
well, but then we're gonna have to really think, because then that moves these 3 guys.
from the
So do we wanna do
It'd
it
have to
like
be
at
afternoon
1
or
o'clock? You know, so you're done with your meeting here,
Oh.
gives us all a chance to get there.
proximity wise, it'd be better if they're or Leland. Leland's not in it, but Thompson is.
like a city hall or something, or the community center.
Community center project, the library one, where we do our elections.
I've been in there.
It's
I've not been in.
22 feet by 40 some foot, so it's 800 square feet.
It can hold a lot of people.
By having these just
huge.
chairs, yeah, you can get a lot of people in there. But when there's tables in there, it only holds like
Oh, right,
10
yeah.
round tables or whatever.
But we can move those.
Right, they have.
So that's what I'm saying, we're gonna need to get some time to get from here to there to get that set up.
So, how about this then? Just in case something comes up that we're to take our time here, can we give Terry authority to act on our behalf on this? Can that be done?
I don't like that idea.
I think it'd be better if we were all involved.
Okay, that's fine.
Not a bad thought, but I'm a little uncomfortable.
Okay,
It's
that's
a
fine.
big project.
Oh,
It was a $50,000 project.
Yeah,
Well, we're going ahead with it. It doesn't matter.
yeah,
It doesn't matter what the public hearing is because we're going ahead with it.
that's right, you are.
I think in the
So-
public's mind, it would be good if you were all there.
That's fine.
We had that with DD 27, when I failed to tell you guys about the one meeting. Why weren't they here? Okay.
I mean, I don't wanna say it's cut and dried, but it's cut and dried, so I mean.
Yeah, the clean out is, yeah.
But annexation and reclass are gonna be maybe contentious.
It's possible.
Okay, so what are we down to?
So do we wanna change the date on this motion so we can have it in Thompson in the afternoon, like 1 o'clock? And 2 o'clock for the bid letting.
Well, so
Just
we
keep-
have the annexation at 1, we start the annexation at 1, the reclass 1:15. We talk about the project at 1:30. I mean, I'm just throwing this out there, you guys
Yeah.
have to make the motion. And then the bid letting at 2.
I'd give the reclass a half an hour.
Yeah,
Or we talked for an hour and a half over at Buffalo, or they were here, on the Buffalo one.
And some of those same people are probably gonna be involved with this one, so.
I'd give it at least a half an hour.
So 1 for the engineer's
Annexation.
report.
Or you-
Annexation. I think engineer's report, can we get by with 15 minutes on that one?
That's the one that they're probably gonna talk the most about. because they wanna know, because that's when we're talking about prices and everything else
Okay,
and what we're doing.
so give it a half hour then. And then 1:30 would be the annexation.
No,
I'd
we're
be
gonna
very
do the
close.
annexation first and the reclass
Oh,
second, the project third, the bid letting fourth. You just have to
So
wait
we're
till
gonna do
time.
the project at, you're gonna give, at 2 o'clock then?
Well, let's just start with the annexation. How long do you think we'll start the annexation at 1?
1. And then
And then the
1 to
reclass.
1:30.
how much time for the annexation?
I'd allow half an hour. I mean, I can keep my summary short and then just have the rest of the time for questions.
Reclass at 1:30. Project 2 o'clock.
We're looking half hour each then?
I think so.
Okay.
If it can be done this way, and I don't know why can't we just put annexation at 1 o'clock to be followed by reclassification to be followed by the project?
When
Yeah.
the hearings, I think you have to have a time set.
Well,
If we don't,
there is
obviously,
a
we're
time
not following
set.
it today,
It's
so
1 o'clock, so I mean, I'm just guessing we're gonna run over
Some of it could end
anyway.
up taking longer.
Yeah.
Why put a time on it if you aren't gonna be,
That's something we'll probably have to ask Kathy about.
yeah,
They're gonna be there for all 3 of them if they're gonna be there.
I would think so.
True.
so then we can do 1, 1:15, 1:30, 2 o'clock, and we'll just get to them when we get to them.
Yeah.
Okay,
let's
that's
do that.
fine. Yep,
Let's do that.
that's better yet.
Okay, so 1:30 was the engineer's report?
Yep.
And then 2 o'clock is the bid letting?
Excellent.
Confused yet?
I'm not, I got it.
Thank
I'm
you.
perfectly fine, I've got it on electronic, I'm good.
Okay, so
Let's,
I would make and we're planning on, there's 2 choices in Thompson that would be big enough. One would be the roundup room at the Brenning and the other one would be the community room at the library.
I'm gonna guess the community room we would not have to pay for, and the roundup room we would, and we were not going to pay,
Right.
so
Sometimes the roundup room do it if they sell beverages, you know,
this in the middle of the
Pop.
afternoon.
the pop I'm talking about. They've done ones with just pop.
BYOB then.
Well, at the community center it would be, not brand.
Let's do the community center.
All right, so I would make a motion to set the public hearing date for July 26th, start, huh?
July 25th.
Yeah, July 25th at 1 o'clock for the annexation, at 1:15 for the reclass, 1:30 for the engineering report, and 2 o'clock for the bid letting in Thompson at the community center if available. Yeah, at the library.
Motion for Derby, a second from Stencherud, for the public hearing date as stated. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So really, all you gotta know, the time you gotta know is just 1 o'clock.
Yeah,
Be there for the rest.
that's right. I'm sure Mike's right. If they come at all, they'll come for all of it.
Yeah.
Call me anytime if questions come up. Don't hesitate to refer landowners to us. Sometimes we can take care of a lot of questions ahead of time.
Do you prepare a letter for that, or do I? Some engineers just send me the letter and then I send it
Oh,
as is.
With our letterhead or whatever.
Yeah.
we've done it both ways.
How about if you send me something for the newspapers?
Okay, yes,
I'll do the letter for the landowners.
okay.
Thank you.
I would think the Buffalo paper and the Lake Nell paper would cover this district, you know.
Lake Mills wouldn't even need it. Would they?
There might be some people that
Close to Lake Mills.
Maybe an 8.
You're gonna get the Buffalo paper, I can tell you that.
With the DC electric, it's not that.
And we can
And Lake
send,
Mills does distribute in Thompson's.
right, I was saying Buffalo for sure. We can still do Forest City for drainage, because we have to pay for that anyway.
Just do all three.
So we could do all three. And that way we're covered.
That district's big enough. You should put them
I think
All of
so,
them?
yeah.
Yeah, there's gonna be landowners.
It's right in the
from
middle of all
every
three
area.
I would feel better because then there's no chance of saying we didn't see it or whatever.
Good point.
I'm not trying to hide anything.
Nope.
Okay.
We covered numbers 19.
Thank you,
Yep, we got
gentlemen.
19, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet.
So now we're at number 20.
Number 20, Rick Hopper, Gators and Westgard, to give updates on drainage projects.
Just a reminder, we're working on several others. Most of them are related to lateral 4, and we finished the field work this spring. But we haven't had a chance to finish the reports. For example, we have DD1 lateral 4 cleanout, we have lateral 4 subdistrict 1 cleanout, and we have lateral 4 subdistrict 1 L2 tile report. So we're putting all those together. I want to talk to you as we get closer. We're probably a couple weeks out, and that's where I mentioned maybe we could present all these the same day as you have your hearings, if you want to combine them.
Because we put this back far enough to where we have that 2-week cushion.
Yeah. So,
No more.
yeah, we have, like I say, they're far enough along. I'm comfortable with getting them done.
Now, part of that also included an improvement.
Yes. The L2 tile would be an improvement, and DD11 is a repair, and we've calculated all the sizing for that.
That's another district though.
Another district, yep, but just upcoming to finish. And then I had written down DD 103 reclassification. I can't tell you where we're at with that.
No, that's fine, and
Yeah.
that's fine, as long as we just know what we have with you and how
Yes.
you're doing.
Yeah, we're so close on the reports. Anything that needed sizing calculated, we've got it done. We typically include some history on all of it, that's done. It's mostly just summarizing the costs to finish them up,
So
so.
to go along with the public hearing date for this, you're looking at anything to do with Lat 4, Sub 1, and Lat 2.
Yes, we're gonna have all those reports
But
ahead of that time.
DD11 would be a whole other process.
Right, yes,
Good. So we'll clear that.
you bet.
We need a lot bigger room to do that.
There you go. Yeah, time you get everybody from one end, then, yeah. So, and that's really it, I guess, yeah. It's all coming along, and since we couldn't do the field work till this spring, it just takes a little longer, so.
So do we want to add to the agenda for the 25th, the reports for the other ones? Is that what you're saying?
Probably if we get it done in the next couple of weeks, we can do that.
Yeah,
So, and then would that, again, still be Thompson, so he just has to go to one spot?
Right.
Okay. I just want to make sure
That's
where
our
we're at.
intention, but we can't officially act on it.
there you go. I'm totally flexible,
Next couple of weeks if we-
certainly not that much further here. We
If
gotta,
something happens where there's a glitch in the system and they can't get it done, we won't be able to make that meeting.
There you go.
In the next 2 weeks.
Okay, so I don't need to worry about the agenda right now, we'll wait for the report.
there you go,
Thank you.
perfect.
So this, whatever you're putting together for these letters, won't go out until after we've made that decision, correct?
I'm not doing anything but DD1. I'm not sending any letters out to lateral 2, lateral 4,
Okay.
or
A
sub
separate
1.
letter
That's
when it
where
happens.
they're gonna be
Right.
the letters. Yep.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah, the combining these helps the cost to each district, that's a good thing.
That's all I have.
Mike, anything else?
Good.
Thank you very much. Enjoy being involved here.
Did we drop the improvement over by White Mountains?
Do what?
Did we drop the improvement over by White Mountains?
For,
Oh, what was that?
Right there in town, wasn't it?
No, west of town there, crossing the 60.
oh, no, that, they're still,
Okay,
I think they're still deciding on it.
all right. Thank you, Rick.
You bet. Thank you.
Have a
Like I
good
say,
day.
we're certainly glad to be involved here. Hope we stay that way.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We gotta go back up to 10.
Well, if you come in under the 2, then it's always.
There you go. There you go.
We still got 8. No, we did 7.
Yeah, we have 8, 9, 10, 11.
Oh, yeah.
All right, thank you so much.
You bet. You know, just a call away, so.
Scott Miners, engineer, will discuss secondary road matters.
I don't have too much for you today. Yeah, check it off, unless you guys have anything I need to look at.
Hopefully the dry weather is helping some of these challenging roads.
Yeah, well, Elise has allowed us to start our resurfacing, so trucks are out and they're resurfacing gravel roads or granular roads end to end, so Rake to Buffalo, Thompson is seeing a lot of traffic of trucks, so if you hear anything about that, that's what they're doing. And they'll kind of work their way east across the county, and then they'll start with gravel and do the same thing. Right now, they're doing limestone rock resurfacing.
Have they done any mowing yet?
I don't believe so. Typically, we try to have the blacktops mowed once by 4th of July, and then after that, get started on the rest of it.
Cassuth has already mowed everything.
That's a lot of money.
Well, or everything I've seen,
I've seen a lot.
Excuse me.
I've seen a lot they've mowed as well.
yes. So have some other people.
How many mowers do they have? They have a fleet to do that.
I mean, the trouble with mowing this early, you mow it this week, and 2 weeks from now, it's just as dull as it was today.
Yeah. I'll have to, next time I'm with Roger, I'm gonna ask him what their thought and cost behind it all is. Anything else for secondary roads? Anything? Anything at the auditor's office will discuss drainage matters.
I don't have any this name.
About all draining south.
So,
Every week.
Has anybody talked to you guys about a problem in the road ditch out by, Neil Stephenson's? I think it's west of Neil Stephenson's. I haven't been out yet. I heard about it this weekend.
Ring a bell.
All right.
South and west of Neil.
It's, the Neil South Road, and evidently it must be a mile and a quarter back to the west of Neil Stephenson's. I haven't been out there.
We did some work out in it.
What's that?
We've done some work out in it this spring.
I'll go out and check it out, so see what it is. On the way back. Okay, nothing else for drainage matters. Consider for approval contract with WHKS for DD5 Lat 5.
And then if I could get a copy of that stuff that Elliot brought in, I will make sure to get that to Andy. That,
You can have a copy of this thing
yeah,
here.
and then what was that land, the wetness? Those copies?
I probably have that one.
I I think that would be beneficial for him to see. You didn't see that? Some aerials or whatever.
Back to 1990s or whatever.
Oh,
So,
Yeah, I already
that
have
way
a
that-
copy of this one, I guess, if you want.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I have his, yep, thank you.
yeah, if you look back in the old plans, it was intended to be improved, that system. I don't remember if it got remodeled or what happened, but it didn't happen.
I'll just make sure when he gets it and.
Okay.
Alright.
See you later.
Make a motion to approve, WHKS for DD5, Lat 5.
I'll second the motion.
Motion from Stegler, second from Derby, to approve contract with WHKS for DD5 Lat 5. All in favor, say aye. Consider for approval pay estimate number 4 to Larson Contracting for DD5 Deep Ridge.
There's 2 copies here. That's one of each.
Does that wrap up the payment on all his?
I didn't.
I can't approve it if I went out and with Randy Larson.
No, it's not the final. No, it is not the final.
All right.
No. Because I'm still holding a retainage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't remember signing off on it.
No, we're not signing it. Because I know Mark and Andy drove the whole length of it and had a huge list of stuff. Yep.
Yeah, we're discussing number 11.
I need a motion.
I have to look at the document first.
Does Andy sign off on all this before you bring, this is brought to us?
Yeah, he's already signed it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what we're paying for. Yeah, that's fine. I'll make motion to approve the pay estimate number 4 to Larson Contracting for DD5 main ditch.
I'll second it. Motion from Stegler, a second from Jensvold, to approve the pay estimate number 4 to Larson Contracting for DD5 main ditch. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Excuse me. Take a look at the form.
Can we have these things signed first, so I get it back?
I think I signed them all already. I don't know if I signed those.
Why are there 2, from the, conservation?
Maybe they didn't get turned in until right now.
Pardon?
They just maybe did, those are the ones Jane brought, they just got turned in.
Why would there be 2 though?
Duplicates,
I'm guessing that there's more in another stack in there.
it's all in that one.
They're just extra
Yeah,
people.
Rick and-
No, I got Rick, there's Rick in here, there's Rick Lilly right
I know,
there.
but what else?
Bill Freeling?
That wasn't in this one.
No.
Oh, yeah, you need to sign these.
Well, why would Rick have
You
2?
sign those.
Well, let's look at the date.
This
This is
You just sign the approved part.
5/15?
state dates.
No, I thought it
It's
said
got
this.
a, is there a change in something?
It said it was on the-
Yeah, it changed to 73 from 72,
Or it's,
So then we must have to take out the old one
but no.
and put in the new one.
Okay.
like a regular,
That's what Jane will do.
these in bill are not on the first set.
there anything for open forum?
How did we do those yet?
Oh, you haven't done any of them.
So which one's right? There's a slight change, right, at least from one to the other.
I'm guessing Jane knows.
Okay.
If she gets those in an email from Robert.
So she prints them out.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose part of the
See over
problem,
there? Carla? Okay, I'll ask you when you're done.
so part of the problem this week is everybody had to turn it in early, so he just made adjustments because of the weekend.
Right,
Alright.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Should say with the weekend.
yeah.
Those two boards gotten together yet? Avery,
Haven't heard anything.
Health and Veterans?
Who?
Yeah, or you guys were never
Oh,
representatives
yeah,
of each one?
I don't know, I haven't talked to her.
Haven't heard anything?
Yeah, I haven't heard it, so.
Chelsea said just give these to you right now, is that okay?
You can just put them on my desk.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they're not payroll, so they don't go to the guides. So you can just put them on my desk.
One is Debbie's commission meeting. Okay,
They're just for general claims, you can just put them on my desk.
well, I didn't know if they had to.
Nope.
Carter Hinkin?
I think he goes to Fort City Schools,
Okay.
or did, maybe.
Hinkin just doesn't sound like a,
Yeah, he could have been a Crystal Lake kid that came to Fort City.
That's a part-time labor.
for the road, yeah, their summer help.
He worked last year too.
What do they have them kids do?
That needs to be done. Last year, after they did the 911 signing,
Oh, that would,
I don't think they're doing this year.
You all have a bus
You
week.
want to make the motion on the payroll?
Oh, yeah.
I'm almost done, I'd go.
I'll make a motion to approve the payroll.
I'll second the motion.
Motion for Treasurer, second for Derby to approve the payroll claims. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Got it.
Form's done. We stand adjourned.
How are you free to go?
Have a good week, Mike. You too.